What's going on, guys? Jerry here with another video. Today we're going to go in through episode 3 in the How to Play Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel series. Today, guys, I'm going to be breaking down how to basically link summon, exceed summon, and synchro summon from your extra deck. So we're going to be going through and doing all of those different type of summons. That seems to be what I continue to get a lot of questions about. Even though I do have other videos on this, I want to take some of the feedback and questions you guys have asked since I've done those videos, and it's harder to see with the camera that I use. So I figured this time I would do it here on Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega, so you guys could see a little bit better instead of me using my camera and using the cards themselves. I figured this might be a little easier way for you guys to see what I'm talking about, versus I know with the camera and the lighting was a little bit difficult for you guys to see some of the cards and stuff I was explaining in a video that I've done last year, roughly around this. With that being said, guys, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing and following the channel. My channel is based on helping you and returning players. We're also doing an ultimate giveaway once we hit the 1,000 subscribers. So please help us hit the 1,000 subscribers by consider subscribing to the channel today, liking the video, and comment down below any questions or feedback that you may have, or maybe something you would like to see me do a different video on, or any Yu-Gi-Oh related questions. With that being said, guys, we'll go ahead and dive in and get the party started. So the first thing that I want to go over, especially since this video is focused on new and returning players specifically, this whole series is. So since since the update to Master Rule 5 a few years ago, guys, how the game works now is, right, so you have your standard, right, your 5 main monster zones like you always have that you see here. And then now you have these 2 zones up here, which are called the extra deck monster zone. So what goes here basically, or what has to go here, are your link monsters. So your link monsters are going to be the ones that look in blue, these blue type background, and then you'll also see on the card text it says link, where you can see my mouse is hovering here for our Battle Shogun. So you'll be able to tell this is it's a link monster. So if it's a link monster, how the link monsters work, we'll start with links and then we'll go through the rest, because links is the one that's the most involved and it's the one I tend to get the most questions on and the people get most confused. So we'll spend most of our time talking about links here at the start. Uh, so they have to go here in one of these zones, guys. It doesn't matter which one. If your opponent's already using like the left zone over here where my mouse is at, you're going to need to use the zone over here on the right, which is perfectly fine. Uh, so by example, let's go ahead and link summon so you guys can see how the summon works, and then I'll explain a little bit more as we go through, because it'll make more sense when I have some cards in the field. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and normal summon, and then we're going to go ahead and special summon our Kaizen from hand since we already have a 6 Samurai on the field. So what we can do is then, since we have we have 2 monsters on the field, and obviously both of them are 6 Samurai. Uh, let's go to our, try to make it bigger. Here, I'll link and then I'll explain. All right, so when you link summon, guys, basically you have to meet the requirements of the card, which we'll read the card text here in a moment, and then you send the cards to the graveyard. With his effect, with the Battle Shogun, when he's summoned, I can basically choose to discard a card, which we'll go ahead and get rid of that because I need that in the graveyard, and then we'll go ahead and just pull another one of those to hand, and we can add one of our 6 Samurai cards to our hand. So basically, and you want to read the text. So in this case, right, you can see that he's very important as well too. Is make sure you look always at the bottom. You want to see where it says link and the rating. So this is the rating system. It could be anywhere. I think the highest so far is still link rating 5, like for Underworld Goddess. So this one's a link 2, meaning it takes 2 monsters to make this card. So it's very important that you're looking at this, and we'll get into some higher link level plays throughout the video. So just make sure you stay tuned. We're going to play some more higher levels as well too, but we just want to start with the basics and work our way up. So you can see, right, it's made with 2 warrior monsters, including a 6 samurai monster, and that's how we were able to play it, right? Because both of our cards were 6 samurai. We just needed one of them to be a 6 samurai, but both of them were 6 sam in this case, which is fine because we only, for the requirement, right, we only needed the one. Then you guys can see the next important thing specifically with links that I want to talk about next, right, other than they have to, as you can see, I can only choose between the zone it's in or the right one since it's empty with us going first. You can see they have these red arrows, and then if you look on the card, there's these other spots for the arrows and they're black. So I'll let you see, the arrows. I'm assuming they're going to eventually build, something higher than a link rating level 5. That's going to be insane whenever they decide to do that, but it's a story for another day. So right, so we can see it has the 2 red arrows. So what this means, right? So when I go to if I go to link summon, it's only specifically link summon, just to make sure that's clear, right? If I was to link summon again, it's going to make me go left or right here. So like for example, I'll link summon again just to demonstrate. So what we want to do is we're going to use the gateway to remove 4 counters, and then I'm just going to add back a Kaizen to hand. Kaizen will be able to special summon, and then since we have another 6 summer on the field, then we'll go ahead and special summon the other one, guys. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to link them again. We can play something else if we want to. This time we'll play something different. This time we'll play Azold. Azold's another very common Link monster too, still pretty well used in the game. And you can see she's just a generic Link monster, just like you have generic, Exceeds and Fusions and stuff like that. Uh, she's generic, right? She's only maybe 2 warriors, so it doesn't matter. They're just need to be 2 warrior monsters. So our description fits that. So we're going to be able to link. So you can see we can use this up here. So I'll go ahead and explain this now. So since uh, we could use him if we wanted to, but even though he is a link 2, we can't. We still have to use 2 monsters. We can't just use him and trade him out, for example. So make sure you guys keep stuff like that in mind. So we can't just trade him out because he's a level 2 already. So we're still going to need to use 2 cards. So what I want to do is we'll swap these guys out. We'll go Azold. Her effect will activate, which is fine. We'll go ahead and choose to activate it. I don't need to activate it, but we will. We'll go ahead and pull Kaigeki. Not that I need the Kaigeki, but we'll go ahead and pull it to hand. And that's it. As you can see, right, we had to put her here. Our only options was here or over here, right, due to the arrows pointing. So for example, like let's say our opponent has like a monster over here that maybe it's like an Appaloosa or a Saryuja, something like that, or one of the Sky Striker monsters or whatever it is, and the arrows point to your side of the field. That means you guys can link someone in that area. So if there's an arrow pointing, the only exception to that, like if they have a monster over here or like over here, same on your side of the field, like if I have one here or over here, then an arrow points to their side of the field, they wouldn't be able to link summon here. It has to actually like touch. So anything like pointing over here, they're not going to be able to link summon to this zone over here. For example, it has to be, like basically directly touching. Uh, so that's how we're able to play here or here. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions about that, let me know down below. So another things I want to go over about Link monsters, guys, to you. So as obvious, right, as you can tell, they have no defense. They have only attack, right? So they can't be flipped face down. They can only be in attack mode. There's no way to put them in defense. So if there's anything like stumbling or something like that that would flip a card face down or switch it to defense, these cards are unaffected by that. So to kind of keep that in mind, you could use that as a strategy as far as one of your decks, just specifically doing that. So just kind of keep that in mind. So now you can do other things as well. So let's go through and do some other plays. I'll try and kind of speed up a little bit. Just why I wanted to go ahead and get all of that on the field before I start the video, so it kind of helped speed things up. So what we could do as well too, guys. So you can go through and do. So what we want to do is we want to do a higher link. So we have enough here. So we have. Let's go through and do. So as you guys can see, I can do Yugioh if I wanted to. We can do Underworld Goddess. Or I could do Appaloosa. So what we will do, we'll go ahead and do Yugioh because Yugioh will help us out later on. Um, so he's going to be made with. I'm going to use all 4 cards. I don't have to use. I could use the less ones if we wanted to make him, but I'm going to go ahead and use all 4 to empty our zone because I want to use his effect, get his effect for when he's made specifically by 4 materials. Because that's going to help us out here in a little bit. All right, we'll go ahead and do that. So when he's effect, so you guys can see he's a link rating 4. So you could make him with like 2 level 2s, right? We had 2 level 2s, so I could have just sent the 2 to the graveyard and played him. But the reason that I played him specifically was with 4 monsters that are different, because when you do that, he gets different effects by the number of specific materials that you use, and I wanted the 4th one. Uh, so we could go through and draw, be able to draw the cards. Plus, I can go through, and I really needed the third one, so we could go through and special summon a monster from our hand. That'll help when I go through the Exceed summons here next in just a few moments. That's why I wanted that, so you guys can see that here in a moment. So that's why we got him. But that's basically Link Monsters, guys, in a nutshell. That's basically it. So just to recap, right, the arrows, they have to be played in one of these two zones. The arrows has to open up a zone. By open up the zone, I mean the arrow points to the zone, which opens it up where you can play other Link monsters. This does not affect your Synchro, your Exceeds, anything like that. They can still go in these zones. They can still also go up here. But let's say you accidentally put your Synchro monster or your Exceed monster or your Fusion monster in one of these zones. Uh, since you can only use one of them, right, you've clogged it up. So if you need to link someone, you have to use that card as material. So if you can't use it for material, you'll lock yourself out of link. So it's very important. Before, it really didn't matter in Yu-Gi-Oh where you placed your monsters, and now it's very important where you're placing your monsters. So just kind of keep that in mind. We'll go ahead and push forward. So let's go ahead and we'll move on to uh, doing Exceed summons next, guys. If you guys would like to see me do maybe a deck profile or something like that on the 6Ms, just let me know down in the chat. Or it's one of my favorite decks. The only downside that I don't like play, I don't use it much on stream as I used to, is because it takes so long to do the combos and stuff like that. So we're gonna go ahead and go start Yugioh. We'll go ahead and play our Zanji. All right, we're gonna go ahead and special summon back on the board, guys. Get these going, so then we'll go through. So how the Exceed summon work, guys? So these are a lot more simpler. So for these, sorry, it's hard to click and hold sometimes. So you can see here how these work. They're made. This one's made with, right. You always want to make sure you're reading your cards, of course. And the card will tell you basically so how that works is it's made with two level 4 6 samurai monsters. So which we have, right? Because I have the Kaizens and I have the Zanji. So I'm just going to use the two Kaizens. We'll leave the Zanji on the board. Uh, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make our Shogun. You see, I could use either ones. We're going to use them. We're going to hit confirm. And I see I can put them in any zone. It doesn't matter, unlike the Link monsters that have to go where the arrows are at. So we're going to put them way over here. And you guys can see the materials go under the card, and that's how this works. So whether you're playing in real life or you're playing on the simulator, you can see the cards are attached. And then for his effect, what he does is he can basically quick effect, which means you can use the effect on your turn or your opponent's turn. I can detach one of the materials and send it to the graveyard. So when you says detach material, it gets sent to the graveyard, guys. And then I can target one of my six samurai monsters I control with less than 2,000 attack. Basically, and it becomes 2,000 for its original attack until the end of the turn. So like if my Zanji wasn't getting boosted by Saryuja, I could use its effect on Zanji, but since he's getting boosted, making him a 21, I have no other card on the field that I can use his effect on because everything we have is too strong at the moment. But that's basically how you would exceed something, guys. It's always the levels that are going to be the same. The cards go under each other, and that's basically how the exceed monsters work. There's really not a lot to go into them. We'll go into the next one, which is how to synchro summon. So synchro summons aren't too crazy either. So what we can do for synchro, we'll go ahead and do. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm gonna go ahead and remove those. We're going to go and bring back our Shin, which is why I tossed him to the graveyard earlier, so we could cycle him back specifically for this combo. We're going to go ahead and remove the other 4 counters. Where this could be with any deck. I just use it with this deck because it's so faster to do video-wise. Uh, to go through and do these type of summons. All right, so for the synchros, guys, yet again, it's very important you're reading your cards because there are some of the newer ones that are played a little bit differently, but for the most part, they're set the same. So basically, how you synchro summon is you need a tuner monster. How do you know if it's a tuner? It used to say it like below the card, but now all the cards have been changed, so they say it at the top in the name. So you'll just look on your card. As you can see, it's here in the center. So he's a warrior tuner effect. So just look on your card and it has to say it's a tuner here, or maybe the card effect has it's a tuner, or maybe you have a spell card that can make your card a tuner. There's different ways to make your cards tuners, so just make sure you're reading your cards. But for the majority part, the card itself is going to say it's a tuner. And then what you do is you add the levels. So in this case, my Squire is a 1, and I have my Kaizen yet again, it's a 4. So 4 plus 1 is 5. So that means I can link summon a level 5 to our side of the field. So that means I could do like our Naturia Beast if I wanted to. And if you guys see Natria Beast requirements, right, you can see it's a Beast Synchro effect. It's a level 5 Earth, and it's played by one Earth tuner and one or more non-tuner Earth monsters. Basically what that means, long story short, is the tuner that we're using for the Synchro summon has to be an Earth, and the other monster you're using to Synchro with it has to be a Earth as well. If they're not Earth, you're not going to be able to do it. And that's basically it, guys. That's how you would Synchro summon. Just make sure you're reading the cards. The level needs to, both of the level of the cards you're using, whether it's can be used with one card or multiple cards. Just make sure you're reading your cards, and it'll let you know if you can use multiple cards to go through and do. But that's going to do it for this video. I don't want the video to be too long. It's about right where I wanted the time limit. If you guys feel like I didn't go in depth enough, something like that, I'm doing a live stream this weekend, Friday coming up, from between 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you'd like to be there for me to go over any of this type of stuff, I'll be using Omega. I recommend you downloading Omega, whether you want to play with me in the stream. Or just trying to get better at the game. This is a great way to perfect your game for free, guys, and then take the knowledge and move it over to Master Duel. That's what I would recommend you do, like I mentioned at the start of the video. So that way you're saving and conserving your gems. You've got the deck perfected on here that you could play with your friends and play with stuff before it ever comes out to Master Duel. So that way when it comes out to Master Duel, you're already on point and you're on fire. With that being said, guys, I appreciate your love and support. If you made it to the end of the video, I definitely appreciate that even more. Make sure you guys comment down below, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. You guys have a good night.